takes a lot to actually build something really, really fast. Everything from the initial design to the analysis of the design, through to the cut list, through to making of the materials, organizing everything, getting one place kind of situated where you can then start manufacturing, especially something of this caliber, something of this size. It's just very time intensive and monetary. It costs quite a bit as well. So I'm currently building a speed record ice boat to attain the world speed record on ice, powered by wind. And right now I'm in kind of the preliminary fabrication stage. I've got the crash frame together. I'm going to then move on to making the skin that wraps around to make it aerodynamic and all the support structures that come off that. It's an ice boat. It's going to beat the world record.
Yeah, I've pretty much completed everything up front here. I'm about to move on to the back, and then we'll be ready to take it off the table.
Yeah, and then we can do the modifications afterwards, right?
And we'll do the reinforcement on the actual overhead roll cage, sure.
Yeah, reinforcement, and then the roll hoop. Don't forget the roll hoop.
Yep, got that.
So this is a 3D parametric program that I used to design the boat, and the students that worked with me to design this frame, they used it as well in their class. So this is the 3D model of the frame that we see right here, and I can go into it, I can manage my joints, I can manage the actual pieces, the length, and whatever else, and then I can spin around the outside looking at any kind of angle, actually going into the frame, seeing my conflicts, seeing if there's any overlaps, and then I can fit pieces perfectly within the frame that I've constructed. The current accepted record is 230 kilometers an hour, and the whole reason why I want to beat it is because I was motivated and inspired by a good friend of mine, Richard Jenkins, about 5 years ago. He tried to set it and is currently trying to set it as well, and I figured, considering I'm located in one of the best places to do this, why can't I do it, especially with the engineering know-how and the sailing background that I have at my disposal. Ice boats have this function where they can actually go faster than the wind, and even the most simplistic of designs can go 3 to 5 times the speed of wind. So my biggest obstacle is going to be drag. And it really doesn't take all that much wind. I only have to go out in approximately 20 to 30 miles an hour wind to actually set the world speed record. My design is different in that I'm actually going to be utilizing solid wings instead of a traditional sail. That allows me to be a lot more effective through the wind and to use the wind more effectively as a platform to propel the boat forward. Traditional boats don't have a fairing like mine is. Mine's more designed like a plane, so it is that much more effective in going and cutting through the wind. And thirdly, I'm going to have a couple secret systems on the boat that I can't quite release right now until I'm on the ice. My design is different in that I'm actually going to be utilizing solid wings instead of a traditional sail. That allows me to be a lot more effective through the wind and to use the wind more effectively as a platform to propel the boat forward. Traditional boats don't have a fairing like mine is. Mine's more designed like a plane, so it is that much more effective in going and cutting through the wind. And thirdly, I'm going to have a couple secret systems on the boat that I can't quite release right now until I'm on the ice. It's a lot of time invested, though. A lot of time.
It's a lot more, definitely a lot more involved than what we ever thought it would be. Right from the get-go, it's definitely a lot more fabrication and welding.
Yeah. What do we figure? 120 pieces?
200. Yeah, 120 pieces at say 25 to 30 minutes per piece for welding. So it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. So
yeah.
But it's definitely up to race car specs. So if anything was to go wrong, definitely we'll keep this guy safe.
There we go. That's the idea, at least. Safety is definitely a huge concern in a record attempt like this. So number one was to get the crash frame off the ground so we can put a lot of R&D, a lot of research, and a lot of time into actually making something that's robust and safe. That being said, though, I am traveling at 240, potentially without any brakes, without any kind of safety mechanism. So I'm going to have Steering is definitely, I'm going to have some secondary and tertiary systems as backups, and then there is even a potential for a drag chute, but that inherently has its own issues as well. So my one good, solid idea of just scrubbing speed is to go around in circles, which is what ice boats generally do of today. All right, so what we're looking at right here is the front of the crash cage, and this is kind of where most of the impact is going to be absorbed. And as we move further back to here, this is where we have the roll hoop. This is what's going to take the impact if the craft were to ever flip upside down and land on its top. We've got the back right here, and then we have the cockpit right here where I'm going to be sitting and controlling the craft. So I will be oriented in this direction, hand controls and foot controls right about here, and helmet on obviously, enough clearance in the roll cage. And from here, I'm going to be piloting, trying to set the world speed record. I've got a great team of friends that have pitched in. They're helping me along the way. They're giving me technical know-how. They're giving me materials and their time as well. But it's definitely going to come down to bottom dollars to try to get this thing off the ground. So I hope in the next year I can scrape it all together. I think I could pretty much lay this on my dad's feet. My need to go fast. He started out when he was younger rallying minis back in Denmark, and through my upbringing, through being exposed to him having a little bit of a speed demon in himself, kind of led to me pursuing fast sailboats and then motorbikes and fast cars as well. So yeah, it's all my dad, I'd have to say. I am one of those individuals that shut my brain off, and if I am thinking about something when I'm riding my motorbike, I try to turn it off, because I just love the whole mantra behind having a clean, open mind, focusing on nothing but the road, the corners, and what's coming up next. And I remember back in the day when it was getting really cold, we were setting up our boats for a regatta, and it was like +2, coffee steaming, and you're thinking to yourself, why the heck are you out here? That being said though, ice is just around the corner. December is not far away, so I'm starting to get excited. Boats are out in the garage, fixing everything from last year, getting ready for the ice to show up.
Gonna go do some ice boating. It's a nice afternoon, so it's perfect conditions too, so I'm looking forward to it.
I actually grew up in my dad's wood shop, learning how to build cabinets and how things actually fit together. From there, I kind of dabbled a little bit before I finally settled on going to engineering school to really kind of build upon my passions of sailing and going fast as well, through to actually putting numbers on what I inherently know. It's the creative process, trying to dictate where your design is going to be going based on some sort of science and engineering. I actually grew up in my dad's wood shop, learning how to build cabinets and how things actually fit together. From there, I kind of dabbled a little bit before I finally settled on going to engineering school to really kind of build upon my passions of sailing and going fast as well, through to actually putting numbers on what I inherently know. It's the creative process, trying to dictate where your design is going to be going based on some sort of science and engineering. It makes sense for me to try to set the world speed record out on Ghost because it's so close to Calgary, and if I break anything, it's easy enough to repair and close to home, so I don't have to be situated in a
in a distant place for a very long time. It's just a little zip out there, maybe after work if their conditions are right, or just take a day off to set the record.
As a job, I generally design sports equipment in a high octane environment, I guess you could say, where we're a prototyping shop. We're basically going through a project in 6 months, trying to fulfill the client's needs. Then it's out the door and we're on to the next project. But that in itself is really, really fun because I deal with such a variety of various projects that can only bolster what I do as a hobby. I basically experience a lot of different types of fabrication, exposed to a lot of different types of machines, and that only builds my my toolbox, so to speak, which then I can start applying to my hobbies as well.
Yeah, so the ice is about 8 to 10 inches thick right now, which is perfect. We only need about 2 to 3 inches to really go, so this is nice and safe. So what we're looking at here is a standard DN ice boat. So we've got the hull in the center here, which is where the occupant sits down. And then we have an outrigger on the back here, which supports the 2 skates. And then we have stays, which go up to hold the mast. With a standard mast, that's exactly where the sail goes. And up front here is where we have our steering skate. So we've got a tiller that goes into the cockpit, and that's how the driver steers the boat as he's sailing along.
Sailing is always an expensive hobby, and more so ice boating and a venture like this because it's very specialized. Everything has to be manufactured from the ground up, and I have to create all the tooling, all the pieces of equipment to make other pieces of equipment. So it's a very lengthy and a very time-consuming and financially it's quite expensive.
Well, that's not cool. I broke the halyard. We do tend to break a couple pieces every now and again. And me more than most because I'm usually pushing it, but that's why I build them strong.
All right, so one of the toughest challenges right now is actually going to be the physical construction just because the boat is so large. It's upwards of 30 feet long and 30 feet tall, so trying to find the perfect space that I can assemble all this is going to be a bit of a challenge. That being said, when the boat is on the ice, finding that perfect window is also going to be a little bit of an issue because we're going to need the right winds, the right ice conditions, and there has to be no snow as well. So it's got to be a nice sunny day, clear ice, and lots of wind to kind of propel the boat forward. So there's numerous issues that I'm going to have to overcome. In ice boating's infancy, it started as a way to commute and to move product from one place to another across large bodies of frozen water. It's now kind of propagated into more of a recreational sport and a competitive sport as well, where they do this across the world. They get mass meetings together of various different designs, and they pit each other, just like the sailing world, the soft water sailing, pit each other against each other to beat themselves around the course. I used to going fast in a car, on a motorbike, and I grew up on ice boats and on sailboats as well. So it's kind of par for the course in that it's just a little bit of a step further than where I've gone. That being said though, I've only gone about 110, 120 kilometers an hour in an ice boat, so doubling it does scare me somewhat, but I'm trying to do it in a very safe manner. Yeah, I've been dreaming about this for a number of years now. To see the frame get off the ground and be constructed is really kind of fulfilling for me. That being said though, it's a long, hard road ahead of me to get all the pieces together that then strap onto this piece, but it's a good foundation to start from and springboard off of in the next year.